Unscripted.
This type of news shouldn't really come as much of a surprise if you have been paying attention to what the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 have been doing all along. Once again, it puts Microsoft in sort of a precarious situation. Like, what exactly is going on over there at Microsoft, and how is this still happening, and why is this happening, where it does seem like indeed when it comes to like the PlayStation and Xbox versions of things, it does seem very much indeed like the Xbox version is getting the short end of the stick, and particularly in this tech, like when they're diagnosing this tech and stuff like this. I don't understand what is up. Listen, we've been hearing from Phil Spencer for many months about how great the Xbox Series X would be, and there would be demonstrable differences and all this kind of stuff, but what has happened so far hasn't really kind of echoed what he's been saying, and what he's been saying has kind of been falling on deaf ears, with the exception of course, the pundits and like influencers and stuff like that. Obviously, the influencers who have the most to lose by being honest about the PlayStation 5 being pretty much superior, maybe not on paper, but pretty much on, I would say, 85% of the new game face-offs, PlayStation 5 has actually performed better, and so that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out in the long run. But it is just another one of the situations where we have a really good day on PlayStation news, and it's just continues to get better. I mean, first we get the news that Crash Bandicoot 4 gets a PS5 version with 4K 60 frames per second and DualSense support, along with a free upgrade to the PS5 version. So that's something to really look forward to. I'm really excited to be able to play Crash Bandicoot in 60 frames. I actually held off on buying that new game. I heard it was really good, but again, with the new consoles coming out, I really did just kind of figure that I would wait and see what was going on with that. But there's a ton of good stuff going on. There's always some stuff happening in the world of video games, and at the end of the day, I just do find it to be pretty awesome that we keep seeing all this cool stuff pop up for the PlayStation 5. And again, it really does make you kind of scratch your head at what Microsoft has been doing with the Xbox Series X. Like, they made some very weird choices with the Xbox Series X, and I'm going to get into this because this is a huge win for Sony and for I think gamers and PlayStation 5 owners in general. So I want to get started. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel, and it means a lot to me personally. If you're looking for a way to help out my little crappy channel, the best way to do it, simple like. That's right, you heard it right. It's free for you and means everything to me. So please, guys, help out the channel and hit the bell and click that you want to get notified for all the content when it drops. That's the best way to get notifications, because let's be honest, YouTube doesn't do a good job of sending those out for me. So if you guys could help out in that way, that would be fantastic. Now, very interesting stuff. Shout outs first to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. There's always something interesting going on. When you go back and you look at some of the stuff that Sony added to the PlayStation 5, it was just really much better, well-rounded console. Microsoft really went with cheaper things, inferior stuff like Wi-Fi 5 instead of Wi-Fi 6. They also could have did something different with the controller, but they really seems like they went back with the quality, and the new controllers feel very cheap and very plasticky, and they click and make a lot of noise when you play with them. But according to this anyway, Microsoft even went cheap with the 4K Blu-ray drive, and the PlayStation 5 actually has outdone them in this instance as well. The PS5 has a better 4K Blu-ray drive than the Xbox Series X, according to this new test. I'm going to link this in the description below. You guys can check it out, peruse it at your own particular leisure, and let me know what you think, because this is always something important, when we sit there and we talk about these things and how, gaming has changed and stuff like that. I always want to make sure that you guys know that I link all the stuff in the description below, and you guys can check that out. I also link, my PSN, my Xbox Live account, all that stuff, my Twitter, if you guys ever want to talk video games or whatever. I love doing that, so just know that, and feel free to kind of hit me up there. So that'd be awesome. So anyway, they put the PS5 4K Blu-ray drive up against the Xbox Series X, and the results are pretty conclusive. Sony's console offers a better experience than Microsoft's latest home console in regards to 4K Blu-ray playback. The comparison test goes into a lot of detail, revealing a number of interesting advantages for the PlayStation 5 user. For starters, there's high chroma bandwidth on Sony's new home console, with the PlayStation 5 rendering grainy and smoother than the Xbox Series X 4K Blu-ray player. What's very interesting about this, elsewhere PS5 outputs at 12-bit YCBCR, while the Xbox Series X only offers 10-bit RGB. So in addition, Microsoft console skips a couple of frames when skipping ahead or behind, and is known to mishandle pure 24 frames per second Blu-rays. So obviously, this might not seem like a big deal, but again, I've been saying for a long time that Sony put a lot more thought and effort into their console, and it really does go and show that it really hasn't kind of that we as fans are getting the most out of this console at a tremendous clip, like what they've been able to do. This is really cool stuff, and I gotta say that for me personally, really love the idea that they were able to sort of go out there and take advantage of multiple things. Like I said, better Wi-Fi, you have better controller, you've got a superior design in my opinion, you've got a lot of stuff, you got a better four-way Blu-ray player. This is all stuff that helps to kind of really showcase that the Xbox isn't nearly up to par with with the situation with what this console is doing. The PS5 really has gone up and above and beyond what I think anybody thought possible, and it really does make it very, very practical to pick one up instead of a instead of the Xbox Series X. Now, again, maybe some of this stuff, well, obviously they're not going to change the Wi-Fi or the controller suddenly or anything like that, but it does indeed put a lot into play here as we sit there and we look at what's going on with these two consoles, and we look at like just how these advantages, again, the PlayStation was supposedly going to get destroyed in every face-off. That hasn't happened. The PlayStation was just going to be, completely dominated by Game Pass. That hasn't happened. All this stuff that was supposedly going to happen realistically just hasn't happened, and that's really kudos to Sony for, they kept their console very, very much relevant, and they kept their console like at the forefront of everything they were doing. They were like, okay, well, let's make this great game console that has all these great features. It's also capable of doing 4K, 60 frames, 120 frames, HDR. It's doing like this amazing 3D audio stuff. Honestly, I have to say, like, I'm surprised more people aren't talking about this stuff. Like, the literal comparisons between Xbox and PlayStation have been pretty incredible, and everything that we've seen so far has really showcased that Microsoft was a little bit probably underprepared for this generation, despite the fact that they allegedly gave up circa 2014, 2015, and really kind of was supposedly settling and kind of focusing on next generation way back then, so 6 or 7 years ago, and they still aren't ready for this generation. I think that's absolutely incredible to see. You don't really see that too often. I mean, I know a lot of people want to give Microsoft a lot of credit and kudos for this and kudos for that. I always looked at it as sort of a different way. I think that Microsoft just suffers from poor leadership, and that looks like it's going to continue to be a thing going forward. Hopefully they can get some of that kind of worked out and flexed out and figured out, because at the end of the day, us gamers are really looking to kind of get the most out of these consoles. And if you can pick up a PS5 and it can do all this other stuff better, and it has exclusives that Xbox doesn't have, and it plays multiplats great, and it looks like it's playing multiplats at least even or better on most games, then what's the point of an Xbox? Like, that to me would be a huge like kind of talking point. And to be honest with you, I don't really know what the point of the Xbox would be after that. So I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions on all of this, because it's very interesting stuff if you think about it. I mean, listen, I was skewing towards PlayStation anyway based on the games, but even I have to admit that I'm surprised that the PlayStation 5 is outdoing the Xbox Series X so much, you know, on such a regular, consistent basis. It's really kind of unbelievable. And I would love your guys' thoughts and opinion. Like I said before, my Twitter, my Xbox Live handle, my PSN, all down below. You can message me. I respond to everybody. It might take a little bit longer lately to kind of get back to you, but I will get back to you eventually, I promise. Now, thank you so much for watching. Please take care of each other. Have a good time gaming. You know, I just hope you guys all just stay safe, happy, and healthy. Honestly, I really do wish that. You know, have some fun gaming. Relax. Enjoy your day. Take time to smell the roses a little bit. Have a fantastic evening. Rack 'em up. Game on, my friends. Game on. The Crap Gamer. Out.
Unscripted.